Alright, everybody, we should be beginning shortly. I'm just doing a couple little quick things, so I apologize, but don't worry, we will be starting very momentarily. Actually, we should be starting now. Alright, so I hope you guys are having a great Friday. I know I am. This is my third time doing a Friday live stream, or excuse me, live stream Friday, and I'm really excited to get started. For all of those of you who are joining me, please, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share the fact that I am live right now on social media. The more people we get in here, the better this will be. The more questions I can answer. It's just going to be a lot of fun. So to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be doing today, I decided I was going to do a little bit more live illustrating, similar to what I did last week. This time, though, I don't have any client work that I'm going to be working on. Instead, I'm going to be illustrating a house similar to what I've done on my Instagram account. In fact, let me see if I can't show you an example right here. So I think you guys can see we're going to be doing an illustration similar to this one right here, and we should be getting started shortly. I do have to quick post onto Instagram stories. I forgot to do it, so I will be just one more moment. Please bear with me. I just have to send out this one quick little Instagram story. Once I do that, I will be just right back. I figure it would be kind of boring for you to watch me do an Instagram story, so I apologize. One moment. Okay, and we are back. So, just for those of you who have joined, hello Sam, hello Jorge. It's great to see you back again here, Jorge. Sam, I'm not sure if you were here before. I'm horrible with names, so I apologize. Just to recap, what we're going to be doing today, we are going to be going and illustrating a couple of houses, maybe one or two houses, depending on how long it takes. But we're going to be doing them in the style similar to what you may have seen on my Instagram account. Here's a little preview of an illustration I did recently on Instagram. Definitely, if you guys haven't yet, please go and follow me on Instagram. It's at Rocky Rourke on Instagram, Dribble, and Twitter. But please definitely go and do that. Also, please remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. Every time I get a new subscriber, it really is an awesome feeling. Okay, so back to what we're going to be doing. It's so awesome to see eight people in here already in the beginning of this. Oh my god. Let's see. David. Hello, David. Hello, Jocelyn. And hello, Aftab. Aftab. I think I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. I butcher names, so I really do apologize. But okay, so first off, before we even get started doing that, I also want to share with you guys something. This is something I haven't shared too much on Instagram quite yet, but I wanted to share what the work I was working on last week during live stream, how it turned out. So if you guys remember, we were working on this tank here last week. This is the final color for this tank. This is what was sent off to the client. It is done. It is complete. I'm picking up a check today after the live stream. So this project is awesome. I'm just going to scroll over here just so you guys can see a few other of the illustrations I ended up doing for this client. This was purely an amazing project. I'm so happy to have been a part of this and to have been able to create these awesome illustrations. I guess I'll scroll up just so you can see a little bit more. This amazing spaceship. I love this. This background here really makes this pop. This film camera, which you might have seen on my Instagram account. And this game controller. Oh, and this wizard. This is what finally the wizard turned out from what you guys might have seen on Instagram. Okay, so now we have all that. Let's see. Let me just quick jump over here once again. Let's see. Hello, Elizabeth. Hello, Jacqueline. I'm guessing that's how you say it. We're gonna go ahead and get started. This is something I decided spur of the moment. I didn't really have this originally planned, but I decided that we would start today just by creating a simple house. Simple house, maybe a little bit of a scene of a house. And so we're going to go ahead and get started with that. First off, in case you guys have not seen any of my videos before, if you guys are completely new to my whole process, everything that I do starts off in grayscale. So we're going to start off with the ground. We're going to go ahead and just like give it a little bit of a base. I prefer to build stuff off of a foundation. So we got the grass here. We're going to, let me see. I think we're going to start with the main house. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. I'm basically using simple shapes here. Almost most of my illustrations always start with simple shapes, and that's something that always amazes people. We're going to start with this rectangle, then we're going to go and use the star tool to actually create a triangle. We're going to rotate that. And by the way, if you guys have any questions that pop up while I'm doing all this, please feel free to ask them. I will go back and explain what it is I'm doing, how I'm doing it. So please feel free to ask. I'm going to press and hold the Option button, which allows me to just choose one side, and it lets me pull from any angle. Drag this up a bit. Let's see, right about there, I think. And I'm going to round off these corners just a bit. I think that's too much. Let's actually do... That feels better. We're going to shrink this down. All right, so now we have the basic shape of our house. Let's actually expand this from what I did with the previous with my animation project you guys may have seen on Instagram. I'm going to pull this over. I'm going to change up the color for now just so we can see that there is a difference between the front part and the side part here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. I'm going to click, I'm going to press Option. I'm going to drag this up. I'm going to press Option again just to spread these ends out a little bit. Now I'm going to go and click on this corner. I'm going to just drag it, holding Shift, over like this. And so that I know the angle, I'm going to bring this over here. Just a copy of it. And I'm going to match up the angle of the triangle there. All right, that's feeling good. Any questions so far? I hope you guys are having a good, have had a good week, and that you're like getting ready for the weekend, and you're as excited as I am for the weekend. Okay, so now I got this. Now, right now, this looks kind of weird, right? It looks like a weird, like this is actually the side and this is the front of the house. That's not what we're doing here. What we'll do to help change that a little bit is we're going to just decrease the amount of edge that we have here. And let's go ahead and get started on this roof. So I'm going to click, and I'm going to hold Option Shift. whoops, whoa, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna first hold Option, which is gonna let me take a copy, drag a copy of the triangle, and I'm gonna hold Shift just to make sure it's a straight line. And I'm gonna try, let's zoom in. I'm trying to make sure, if you guys can see right here, we're making sure that this is lined up just perfectly. So right there, lined up good. Right there, perfect. All right. Now I'm going to select the original. I'm going to copy, Command C, and then paste in front, Command F. And then I'm going to select that new one. And I'm going to go and grab Pathfinder. In fact, I'll pull Pathfinder out here so you guys can see it better. And I'm going to do the minus front, which is right here. It's the second from the left. And we're going to hit that. And now it's taken just this outer edge here. Now I can darken this up so you guys can see the difference. Hopefully I'm not going too fast for you guys. And remember, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please, by all means, ask away. Oh, and actually, before I forget, let me talk to you guys for a second. As you guys, the people who joined in here first and saw the start screen, I am having another contest this week during the live stream. First off, I am emailing the winner of the second enamel pin. I actually still have to email the first winner of the enamel pin as well. But I will be emailing you on today after the live stream to get your the shipping addresses and everything. For those of you who didn't know, last week I gave away two free Adobe Illustrator enamel pins. I got these at Adobe Max. And this week I'm going to be giving away a free Slaptastick sticker pack featuring the stickers that went out yesterday by the artist, the amazing Dennis Salvatier. Now, I'm going to add in the show notes below when this is actually published on YouTube as a recording. I will include links to Dennis's work, but we will be having a contest for a free sticker pack. I might even give out a couple sticker packs actually, and we will go over what you have to do in order to sign up in just a bit. If you want to get a jump start on that, you can actually find all the information in the show notes down below. But let's get started. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to illustrating, and let's go. Okay, so I actually have a question from Elizabeth Young. You work only on one layer? Yep, I work on only one single layer. I don't worry about working on multiple layers because I can easily break this out if I need to later. For the most part, the only time I ever work on multiple layers is when I'm working on an animation project. Okay, so now that we have those basics figured out, now let's go ahead and figure out the placements of the door, of the windows, and everything as well. Yes, and let me know, again, always, this is something you'll keep hearing me ask. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask away. All right, so let's see. We got the door in here. Let's figure out, okay, I think there should be a window right about here. And then we'll do another window here. Yeah, I like that. We'll have a window there. And then let's see. I think we'll have that little attic space thingy. I don't know what it's called, but we'll keep that there. And then we'll figure out what we want in like the background area here after we start getting everything created. I'm liking this. I think, let's see, let's get windowsills put in. Make sure that these are aligned perfectly. Same thing over here. Okay. Now let's see. Let's change these up because these are really dark, and we're not going to have the frames this dark. So we're going to make it more like this. And then let's round the corners. And you won't round the corners. Notice how I'm not selecting these bottom corners right here. I'm only selecting the top ones because all of those are placed on top of something, and you don't want to have that rounded right there. But with the windowsills, we want those rounded fully. Always remember to save. We're going to round those, I think 3. Yep, 3 works. 3 looks good. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to actually do a little trick. So I'm going to select the windows and the door frame and the windows. I'm going to go over to Path, Offset Path, and notice when I hit Preview, it creates this outer shell, right? This is a little trick. If you're ever doing boxes or things like that where you want it to be slightly smaller, or even for stickers too. This is actually perfect for stickers. If you want to do something like that, you can go through here and you can do it using the offset path feature. This is one of my favorite features. Oscar is asking, well, first off, welcome back, Oscar. Oscar is asking, are you using a mouse or a tablet? I am using a Magic Mouse. I believe that's what they still call them. I'm using a Magic Mouse. You can see it right here. I'm using that, and then I'm using my keyboard. So usually whenever I work in this like flat vector style that you're seeing here. I am usually using a mouse and keyboard. I generally don't have to use it for this type of style. I don't have to use a tablet or anything like that. This is all using the mouse. There's really, for the most part, I don't use any pen tool right now. And with this illustration, I doubt I will use any pen tool. Instead, I will be using just the Magic Mouse. I'm using simple shapes. So there's no real need for a tablet. I'm altering these a little bit because it's a little too thin. There we go. Everyone's always amazed when I say that too. When they hear that I'm using a mouse over a tablet. And honestly, it takes a long time to get used to it. It's something that I've been doing since the beginning because I didn't always have a tablet to use. So I'm perfectly fine with using just a mouse. Plus, there's a lot of times where I have to create illustrations on the fly, and so a lot of times I don't even have a mouse. I have just the trackpad on my computer, and I will use that to create these illustrations. In fact, I think I started off the original little house illustration that this is based off of. That was started, I believe that was actually created, about 50% of it was created using the trackpad on my MacBook Pro. Okay, so I'm adding a little bit of a detail here, adding some shading. We're going to put this at the magic 35%. That's my go-to when it comes to shading opacity. We're going to drag that over here as well. Now, I definitely think, let's see, let's first make sure everything that we don't want to mess up is locked. This door frame definitely needs to be extended. It's a little bit too thin. There we go. Much better. Great question, Oscar. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, so now you can really see this house is starting to shape up, right? Everything's looking a lot better. A few moments ago, it looked super simple. You were probably like, what is he doing? Now it's feeling so much better. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. And instead of me going through the go through object, I'm going to use a shortcut on my keyboard for offset path. And we're going to do 10 per, let's do 12 pixels. Now, what you're going to see here is I'm going to, actually, I will do that. So now I've got this, right? Let's focus in on this for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on a little bit of detail with it. First off, I'm going to get the line tool. And I'm going to click and drag a line. I'm going to match the color to this outside area. And then I'm going to give it, let's see, I would say 5-point stroke. And a little bit thicker. 7 point, yeah, 7 feels good. I'm going to click and drag. And I like that distance. So what I can do is, if I don't want to keep trying to match it up perfectly, I can actually press Command D. And it will automatically create copies and move them down. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this darker circle, Command C, copy, and I'm going to paste in front, select each one of these, and I'm going to press Command 7 to do a clipping mask. Now, one thing I will say this, when you're working on illustrations for websites, depending on what the designer who's building a website uses, you may have to, you won't be able to do clipping masks. You'll have to do using the Pathfinder and clip out all these edges here. Oscar says, I actually preferred using a mouse in Illustrator when not using the pen tool. I like it because it's more precise, snapping to the grid. Yes, like that's definitely the main reason why I use it, is because I love to see, I love that precision that you mentioned. I love to be able to move things a lot easier. There's no real need to have a tablet when it comes to these flat vector illustrations. Okay, so I'm going to select this background again. I'm going to paste it in front. I'm going to press Option and drag. And I'm going to use that minus front once again, just to get this. And using the eyedropper, I'm going to grab that same opacity that I got down here to give it a little bit of a depth. But I don't like that. I think it's too much. So I'm going to go and make it smaller. There we go. That's better. Excuse me. When you're talking so much, like it takes a lot out of you. So from time to time, you might hear me taking a drink of Perrier or water. Okay. So this is starting to shape up a little bit. Let's push things a little bit further. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's focus now on the roof area here. So I'm trying to remember. I have to actually look at my reference to remember how exactly I did this. I think I have an idea. All right, so I'm going to take the same triangle that we used for this top of this house. I'm going to Option and click and drag. Then I'm going to shrink it. I'm going to rotate it. And you might, a lot of times I won't tell you exactly how I'm doing things because I am using shortcuts on my keyboard. So I apologize. If you have any questions, please let me know. And we're going to take this, we're going to give it the same color as the rooftop. And we're going to shrink it. And so this is going to basically mirror tiles, or give like a feel of tiles. Sorry, my dog likes to bark during live streams. He's just saying hello. Okay. All right, Bailey. There's an egg. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have that first one set up. Now, we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier with these strokes. We're going to select this. We're actually going to bring it to the front just so it's easier to work with. Select this, press and hold Option, and then click and drag, and we're going to press and hold the Shift so that it locks on this angle. It locks it because it's at a perfect, I believe, 45-degree angle. And so we're going to click and drag it down, I would say about right about here. And then we're just going to keep hitting Command D and filling that down. Now, instantly, I'm not liking this. I feel like this doesn't work, so I'm going to undo that. And I think the reason why it doesn't work, I'm going to remove the corners, is because it's too compressed. So I'm going to drag that down a little bit more. And I'm going to go back and reapply. I'm going to do 2.5 pixels here. And we're going to try this. By the way, how is the stream for you guys? Is there any like lag or buffering or anything like that? Please let me know. Okay, bring that to front again. And we're going to repeat the same thing we did. Figuring out the best distance. Command D all the way down. It's okay. And the one problem is Command D did take this out. If you notice, this is a lot thinner than up here. Usually when that happens, you just have to manually go through and just like press over a little bit. It's not a perfect, the triangle isn't a perfect 45-degree angle, and so it will go off just a hair. Okay. Alright, it's not bad. It's not good. I think what I'll do is I'll select all of these. Unselect these guys here. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to move these inward a little bit. I'm going to group them together so it's easier for me to work with. There we go. That's feeling better. It's not perfect. It's not precise, but I think it's where we want it to be. Then I'm going to copy it, paste in front, and I'm going to flip it. Or, excuse me, reflect it. And then we're going to drag this over here. Now, a way to make sure that they're lined up perfectly is to group them together. And then just move them to where they line up perfectly. You'll see a little bit of thing right here. Okay, great. No lag. That's great. Okay, so we have this part done. Now, we have this new area here. And so, because we have this new area, we have to do a similar thing over here. So we're going to get rid of these top two triangles because we don't need them. Going to move these over just a hair, and we're going to change this to this color just to make sure that it looks good. All right, and then we're going to, so that we can see all this, I'm going to click this background, or actually, we'll undo that just so we can see this. We're going to add a shadow right here so that we can easily see everything. So we're going to copy the triangle from the original. Or actually, we're going to click and drag it right about here. And we're going to move it down so we don't have those rounded corners right there. We're going to press the forward-facing bracket to remove the color from this. You can also just hit down here, you can hit this little area. And then we're going to click back onto this, copy it, paste in front, and then select that outline. And then we're going to hit divide. And then followed by the trim, which removes all those excess areas that didn't have any fill. Okay, so now we have this. Let's see. I'm going to copy it and delete it. Then we're going to paste this in front. We're going to get rid, there's this little excess over here. And we're going to unite this. Now, you can see here, we have this area that's overlapped. It's a weird shape. That's fine. No one's going to see that. So that honestly, it's fine to do something like that. Then we're going to click over here and grab the same shadow we've been using. And you know what's missing from this? It's missing this area right here, these jagged tiles. So I'm going to select this and copy. Select the shadow. I'm going to paste in front just so it's lined up right. Move it over, get it lined up. select the shadow again, and I'm going to select the Shape Builder tool, which is Shift M, and I'm going to shift and drag from the actual shadow over onto these guys. Okay, so now we have this. Whoops. Now we have this, and just we want to trim off this top part here. So I'm going to get the line tool, and I'm just going to click and drag from the top area here with no fill or no stroke. Select those, and divide and trim. And then this is an easy way to get rid of everything that you don't want. If there's one big area, just click that, and it will deselect it and delete that area. And there we go. We have a nice little shadow here. And we can add in the rounded corner if we want to. Right about there. Okay. Let's see. Oscar says, I use Reflect so often that I create a keyboard shortcut. Do you have one? Yes, I do. So I go through and I have many different keyboard shortcuts for certain things I use quite often, and definitely this is one of those keyboard shortcuts. For me, it's Command Shift. Let's see. Let me make sure that I'm saying it correct. For me, it's just Command R. And I will, by the way, I will get rid of shortcuts that I don't use. And if you want to customize your shortcuts, you can do so under Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, and you can go in here. Now they have shortcuts for all of the different tools that they have, but then you can also go into the menu commands, and you can go into specific things like, for instance, I have a keyboard command for expand, and a keyboard command for expand appearance. And so those are custom ones that I set up. And you want to make sure that you use ones that you're going to be able to remember, and ones that are not going to interfere with any of your other shortcuts that are already native here. Okay, so I can tell you this, rethinking about this, I don't know if that was actually a good idea. I don't like it. I'm undoing it. Sometimes you play around with these things. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they don't. That just feels a little bit better to me. We might come back to the shadow here, but oh well. And now we can go here and get that correct color. So we'll figure out. Like, I think one thing we could do here is we could do a transparency mask here. That would allow us to it just like gradient off, and that way it'd feel a little bit more natural. But we can figure that out a little bit later. All right, so we've started adding shadows in here. Let's add a shadow down here. So I'm going to click and drag this. Copy and paste the original. And do what we've been doing. There we go. So we got a shadow going on right here. And it's okay that we have this here because there's clearly going to be a lip. Alright, so we're getting pretty good. We're getting some good detail in here. Let's go ahead and add in a little bit to the background of this house here. So I'm going to get the rectangle tool. I'm going to click and drag a thin rectangle. And we're going to make it an opacity. And let's see, let's actually drag this all the way out over here as well. And if you notice, I'm allowing it to go off the edges, and that's just so that we can see it later. We're going to do a clipping mask on the whole thing here, but I want you guys to be able to see it. Let's see. Okay, so Javier says maybe the shadow can have an angle, imagining the sun is hitting the house from an angle. You know, I actually do like that. In fact, I'm gonna let's do that. So I'm going to first off, I need to get rid of this anchor point. We'll have it very thin at top, and then have it go off to the side there. Yeah, I mean, that feels good. I still think that we'll come back to that. I think it still needs something, and we can always figure that out in a little while. Okay, so now we started with this line here, and we're going to do the same thing we've been doing with the steps here in the tile roof, and the same with these little areas in this like attic-esque thing. I don't know what it's called. So we're going to click, we're going to do Option, click, and drag. We're going to release it, and then we're going to hit Command D over and over and over again. There we go. Now, because we're doing this a bit different, we have to select this, the main rectangle here, the triangle here, and this rectangle here. We're going to copy all of those, paste them in front, and then we're going to unite them with the Pathfinder. All right, and then we're going to remove the color. Actually, we're gonna copy that because we're gonna have to first do something else that I forgot to do. We're gonna select each one of the lines, group them together. That way we can easily select them. Now we're gonna paste that back in front. We're gonna select the lines and we're gonna make a clipping mask. All right. So now you see we've got it outlined to the structure of the house, but now we have this overlay on top of everything else. So we need to figure out which shape we can paste on. Well, actually, there we go. I just selected the triangle here and I was able to paste on top of it with no problem. Okay, so this is feeling pretty good. I'm liking it. Hopefully you guys are too. Let's see. What next? So I think the next thing that we're going to do is actually we're going to do this. We're going to fix up this shadow here. So we're going to add an anchor point. We're going to click here and we're going to drag it. That way it aligns perfectly. And then we're going to do something similar here. So it lines up there. Now, one thing we're going to do here is we have to bring this out. So we're going to get a rectangle. And we're going to line it up to the bottom of that. And we're going to grab that same shading. So from here, we could probably, let's see, we can maybe even do this way. No, I like this. We'll tell you what. We'll actually we'll have that, but then we will add a shadow here just to give it that little bit of an effect. Let's see what happens if we do it this way. Sometimes a lot of the stuff is experimentation to see what works and what doesn't. So bear with me if you guys are seeing that I'm doing a lot of like experimenting. This is what always happens with illustration. I always try and do a bit of experimenting to see what works and what doesn't. All right, so we've got that done. Let's fix up the shading on the windows here, and then let's start working on this door. So we're going to grab both of these up here. We're going to option and drag. And we've got now the shadow down here. All right, so let's take a break for a second. And let's talk about today's contest. So I have here 3 sticker packs from the amazing Dennis Salvatier. And I'm going to be giving away each of these 3 sticker packs to 3 lucky viewers of this live stream. Now, we'll do 2 of these will be going out today during the live stream. I will choose 2 winners for today, and then another winner will get a sticker pack at the beginning of next week's live stream. So in order to win these free sticker packs, you have to simply subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I believe some of you already are. And you have to use the link in the description to sign up for the contest. Now, there is a link in the description. It goes straight to a landing page. If you are already signed up for my mailing list, you still have to go through and sign up for the contest, and that goes for everybody. I cleared out the contest entries from last week, so everybody who signed up last week, you can re-enter into this contest. Don't worry about that. Just follow the link in the description. It's under for today's contest. There are 2 simple steps to enter the contest: subscribe to my YouTube channel and sign up for my mailing list. Follow that link, sign up for my mailing list, and at the end of the live stream today, I will choose 2 lucky winners to win a free Slaptastick sticker pack featuring the amazing work by Dennis Salvatier. So go ahead and head over to the landing page, fill out everything. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I will keep checking in on that. I will keep reminding you of that for all those people who come in between now and then. But for now, we're going to get back started. Actually, before I get started, is there any questions about the contest? Does anyone have any contests? Does anybody have any questions about the contest? Or do you have any questions about what it is I'm doing today? All right. While I'm waiting for you guys to ask any of those questions, I'm going to go ahead and jump start back into this. All right. So we have the windows are pretty much done. Now we have to do the door. Doors are always tricky. A lot of times I will not include doorknobs because they tend to throw off the doors a little bit. Why that is, I honestly don't fully understand it myself. But we're going to just do a similar door frame to what I did in my original illustration. Okay, so we're going to take these 2. We basically applied the same transparency effect that we have for all the shadows. And we're just going to click and drag these down. And we're going to fix these because these aren't how I want them to be. So we will be changing these up a bit. We're going to drag these down. And we're going to drag these down so that it gives it a little bit of breathing room there. Let's see. We need to drag these up. And then drag these up. Alright, that feels good. So right now we have the basic house. We have the basic house here. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. I think next we're going to start playing around. Let me bring this. Whoops. It's always fun when you forget that you've locked certain things. We're going to click and drag. Now we're going to work on some background elements. Let's see. So first, let's work on some shrubbery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the circle tool. And I'm just going to click and drag. Create different sizes. All of them circles. Just different sizes. Group them together, and then we're going to try and align them perfectly with that. We're going to darken these up. And we have like a nice little bush back here. And we can reuse the same element because we are hiding part of it here. So it's still all one shrub, but we're using the same one here and the same one here, and they look similar, but they don't look quite alike. And then finally, I'm going to take that same one, we're going to paste it in front, we're going to put it here, we're going to remove the bottom one, we're going to reflect this just to give it a little bit of a difference, and we're going to shrink this just a bit. Increase the size here and move it over. Now we're going to darken this up even more because it is in the foreground. Either that or, actually no, we'll keep that color, but we'll change these to darker. And then what we're going to do is we're going to unite them. We're going to get a line. We're going to line it up to this base here. Select the bush. Click divide. And then we're going to press shift and click on the place that click on the shape that we're going to keep. And then we're going to delete what we're not going to keep. Okay, so Oscar asks, is this house part of a bigger illustration? So technically no, this is strictly for the fun of it. I wanted to create another house just for fun. Could it possibly be part of an illustration down the line? Yeah, it definitely could. I sometimes will save illustrations I do for fun and use them for blog posts or things like that. Javier asked, it would be awesome to see the same shadowing process with simple still life similar to drawing. Yeah, so with doing stuff like that, I'm actually going to darken that up because I kind of like that better. With shading and shadows with things like that, like still life, it is always interesting to do. Like if I create objects or we'll say objects. If I create objects and apply similar shading, like for instance, we're going to add shading right now to these bushes here. And you can see a little bit of my process of doing that. Sorry, my throat is very dry right now. So what happens when you talk for 50 minutes nonstop? All right, so we're going to apply some shadows to these bushes right here. So we're going to click, we're going to copy, we're going to paste in front, and then we're going to press Option, and we're going to drag this off a little bit to the side here. Now, because the way we've set up this so far, we know that the sun is somewhere up in this area here. We're not going to do minus front because that would give us this area. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do intersect, which is going to give us this middle part. We're going to apply the same shadow there. And so now we have this like simple little shadow here to give it a little bit of depth. Now what this does is it basically gives us this highlighted part of the bush, and it gives us an area that we know is not being hit by light. And we can do the same thing for all of these, except for some of these are going to be a bit different. Like for instance, technically this bush here would not be the same, but we'll still do something similar. So we're going to copy, paste in front. We're going to drag it, and we're just going to drag it about this much. And this one we will do minus front. And then because we have that there, we're actually going to take this. We're going to copy and paste in front, and we're going to apply that shadow to it. Now, because the house is here, we're going to clip this. So we're going to use a line, and we're just going to clip here. Get rid of this excess. And that way, we still have shading that shows that part of the bush is not exposed to light, but then we have this sharp edge here that shows that the bush is in shadow. So you get like a little bit of an idea of like applying shadows to things like that. And we're going to do another one right here as well. And for this one, I'm eyeballing it. Whoops. Copy, paste in front. I'm just going to eyeball it a little bit. And then we're going to do this. I'm not liking that. I'm going to delete it. Actually, you know what? I'll say that this is actually indirect light, and instead what we'll do is we'll add a shadow behind it. There we go. Just manipulate this a little bit and have some fun. There we go. That feels about right. When we move into color, we'll change some things up a little bit. Okay, so now we have some shrubbery. Let's add a tree. So just like with that same illustration, we're going to do a very simple tree. So we're going to start with a circle. We're going to use the same coloring as the shrubs. And we're just going to manipulate the circle so it's not a perfect circle. So it's a little off at the base here. We're going to move this. I'm actually going to make this a little bit lighter. We're going to grab the rectangle tool. We're going to click and drag. And then we're going to select the top points here. We're going to press S. And we're going to be able to work with the scale tool to change the scales of this here. Perfect. We're going to bring the leaves up front. We're going to lighten this up. We're going to select the whole thing, copy it, delete it. Then we're going to select the bush here, and we're going to paste behind it. So now we're adding more dimension by having the tree here behind it. And then we're going to go and add another tree over here. We're going to have this one be a little smaller. But then we're going to have another one off to the side here, which is going to be in the front, and it's going to be larger. And that really helps to play with dimension quite a bit. And you can see like how all of this has really been changing from the beginning. For those of you who have been here from the beginning, like this has really transformed into a pretty cool illustration. And all of it using simple shapes. Okay, so let's see. David says that's a lot of color swatches, vibes. Yeah, so this is my entire color library. And unfortunately, you can't just do a screenshot of this because the colors are not as vibrant in the recording as they actually are. So you won't be able to get the exact same effects. Alexandru, maybe you can add a fence in the back of the house. You've actually read my mind. 1 second, my throat's getting a little tickled. I don't want to cough. Okay. That's actually what I was thinking about adding. If you guys haven't seen it, on my Instagram account, which you can find at Rocky Rourke, you will actually see the 2 of the original illustrations that were inspired by, inspired today's live stream illustration. So definitely go check that out on my Instagram account. And in that, you actually have white picket fence in the back, in the foreground-ish kind of thing. Okay, so because I will be adding a picket fence, I'm going to add a background color here. So I'm going to just make a very light gray color, because this will, once we start illustrating everything, this will actually be blue for a blue sky. We're going to lock those for now. And we're going to start actually, before we, we'll do the picket fence first. So we're going to just get a rectangle. We're going to click and drag. We're going to make it white. And we're going to actually use the pen tool here, and we're going to use the plus. So on the keyboard, if you hit the plus, you'll get the pen tool. I don't know, what do they call it? They call it the add anchor point tool. And we're going to add an anchor point right in the center. Click that, and we're just going to hit it up. Then, like we have been doing, well, first, gotta save it just in case. The reason why I save before I do rounded corners is because in the past, sometimes when I do rounded corners, Illustrator will crash depending on how much elements I have in this illustration. So we're going to round this to about 5. No, we're going to change it to 3 because that was a little bit too much. but we will round these side points a little bit more. There we go. I like that. Okay. So let me zoom in so you guys can really see. So we have this picket fence post. Now what we're going to do is we're going to Option, Shift, and drag. Option, Shift, or excuse me, Command D, and just repeat this until we go. And now, this is a freak accident. I did not mean for this to hit this edge here. That is insane. Wow. That is a happy accident. Okay. So now that we have those, we're going to need to add the backings to this. So we're going to get the rectangle tool. We're going to find the center post. We're going to hit Option. And we're just going to drag this out. And figure out the best spot. We're going to copy it because we're not going to use it quite yet. Select all of the picket fence posts. Group them together. Then we're going to, with them selected, we're going to do Paste and Back, or Command B. And then we're going to click Option drag that down as well. Alright. Group those together. Then group all of them together. And now we have to figure out, do we want this in the front or do you want it in the back? So we're going to copy it, delete. We're going to paste it back here. And honestly, I like this better. I like it behind the bush here. And I think that I need to actually click this post and bring it down a little bit. Because I don't like it. I didn't like how it was peeking up over here. Or bring it up here. I prefer it down. Alright, and so we've got that. And since we already have that built, all we have to do is copy, paste in front, reflect it, and then go and drag it over here. If we wanted a picket fence over here. So what we're going to do is, because this is like this, we're going to move it over just a hair. Alright, so now this is really shaping up. We have a nice environment here. We have the picket fence, we have the trees, we have the bushes. Now we need to go and add some details to the trees and then add a little bit of detail to the picket fence. Alright, so similar to what we did here, we're going to select this. We're going to copy, paste in front. I'm going to do Option, and I'm going to drag it like this. Right about there. I'm thinking about how this is going to look right here. I'm going to select the original, and then I'm going to do minus front. I'm going to apply the exact same opacity, except for I'm going to change up the color a little bit because it was a little too dark. And we have now a shadow for the leaves of the tree. And let's go ahead and do this for each of these as well. Same process. Oops. Eyedropper to select that same. This tree is going to be a bit different. We're actually, because it's in the background, we're going to darken it up so that it's different from this tree. So we're going to copy the main part again, paste in front, and then just eyedropper that. Now we have the contrast we need for this. Alright, and we'll do the same thing for the tree trunk as well. And now we have an interesting thing here. So because of the fact that, just like with this thing here, actually, you know what? Forget that. Forgot I even said anything. Alright, so now we have this shadow in the leaves, but we need now to add a shadow to the tree trunk. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the leaves again. We're going to select the tree trunk. We're going to paste in front. And then we're just going to shift down one or two spots. Once we've done that, we'll select the tree trunk again, copy it, paste in front, remove the fill, and we'll do intersect. And then select the eyedropper. Now we have a nice little shadow show that that the leaves expand outward and are on top of a tree trunk. And we'll do the same thing over here. We don't really have to do it back here because it is behind everything and it is a little bit more obscure. But we'll do that here as well. So we'll select that, paste in front, shift down. Whoops. And there we go. And then the last little bit we'll do for the trees is we'll add some sort of indication that there are leaves here. So I'm going to get a circle. I'm going to get the line tool. And I'm not going to clip at the middle. I'm going to clip about at a third of the circle. Get rid of the top. Now I have this area here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the ends and I'm going to round them about 5 points. Now this here, this is a little technique that is kind of similar to what you would see in like video games, like old retro video games. This is like where this type of leaf is inspired from. So we're just going to play around with like the sizing and orientation of them, find, you know, what works best, and just play around with placement. Because there's no right or wrong way of going about it. It's just like trying to make it look a little bit organic and natural. But we're going to select all these, group them together, and we're going to paste them behind the shadow so that we still get that shadow on top of them. And so we'll copy one of these and head over and do the same thing here. So does anyone have any questions while I'm going through and adding these details all over here? Does anybody have any questions about this or about the contest that we have going on today? Adding them in. I think this is good. Don't want to overdo it with how many shapes that you put in. Okay, and I'm not going to add it in the background here for this one. I think it's just a little bit too much. Okay. So in looking at this, I know I need something here. I need to play around with this and see how I want to go about doing a shadow. And I think I have an idea. There we go. I like that. Okay, and now let's go through and do some shading on the fences. And really the only part that you need to do that is here. And this is a small detail that you can, if you do something similar to this, you can completely skip it. It's not necessary. This is just me being a perfectionist. Alright, we're going to drag this down. We're going to group them, copy, and we're going to paste it in front of this. That way it doesn't go on top of the bush here. Alright, let's see. Javier says, or asks, how long does it take you to finish a project like this, one when you're not live streaming? So, honestly, I'm going about roughly the speed that I go when I'm actually working on stuff like this. Sometimes it is faster, sometimes it's a bit slower. I would say, like, this right here, for instance, the element that you guys saw on Instagram, that is just part of a project. That's not actually the full project. That's only that's for animation, and so it's one storyboard. So sometimes you know, this scene would take me between 30 minutes to an hour or so. Right now, like we're almost done with it at the point where we would then move into color. But And by the way, I'm adding a little bit of clouds to the background here. For the most part, like this type of scene takes me about 30 minutes to an hour. So you guys are actually getting a good representation of how long it takes. So we're going to add white there, but we're going to change it to 50% opacity. Actually, you know what? We'll darken this up because this will be a background cloud. Okay. And then we'll take this. This is also a technique that I took from video games, specifically Super Mario Brothers, to save money. If I remember correctly from the stuff that I've read, Nintendo would use the exact same shapes for clouds and bushes. So whenever you look at old pictures of Super Mario Brothers or something like that, you'll notice that the clouds and the bushes are the exact same shapes, just different colors. Little bit of illustration game history. Alright, and then you know what? I'm going to add one little more element. I'm going to take these original shapes I used for this. I'm going to flip them. And I'm going to remove the strokes. And we're going to have them out here just as a representation of grass. I hope you guys have been enjoying this live stream and all these other live streams for everybody who's been joining me consecutively. These have been a lot of fun for me. I just hope that they've been fun for you. They've been informative. And I hope you guys just keep coming back for more. Alright. Alright. There we go. And we'll... Whoops. What else do I have? There we go. Whoops. Okay, group those, and we'll give those 50% opacity as well. Alright, so I'm going to say that this is at a good point where now we can start messing around with color. So I'm going to unlock everything, save it. And now we're going to go through, let's see, and figure out, looking at my library of color, we're going to go through and figure out what exactly we're going to do. So let's first play around with figuring out the base colors. So when I say base colors, I'm actually talking about the sky and the grass. Because what we choose for here is going to influence what we choose for the rest of the illustration. I'm liking that. I feel like, let me try something. Let me actually choose this. I guess that's okay. Galen, very enjoyable, Rocky. I'm a developer who doesn't even have interest in doing illustration, but this has been fun to watch while I code. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me and for being for listening to me talk and watching me do this. Actually, before I jump into color anymore, let me go back and once again remind everybody that for these were the people who were not here just a little while ago. There is a contest going on. You had the chance to win a free Slaptastick Sticker pack. By the amazing Dennis Salvatier. Now, in order to do that, all you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, use the link in the description to sign up, and at the end of this live stream, I will choose 2 people who win free sticker packs from the mailing list sign up. Now, if you are not here when I announce the winners, actually no, we're gonna get rid of that. That's unfair to people. If you, for some reason, if you cannot stay here for the rest of the live stream, I will go through and I will send you an email letting you know that you won. So you can send me your address and I can send you your sticker pack. But that contest is going on in the background, so please don't forget to sign up and enter to win these amazing sticker packs. Okay, so back to the iMac. All right, so we've gotten that. Since I've got the blue figured out, let me go ahead and get these background elements figured out as well. Okay, that's doing good. Now it's time for the green grass. Let's see. Greens are always very fickle. Trying to find the right green grass. I'm almost torn. I'm kind of torn with that. But let's see what other colors I have. Because I have many. I'm kind of liking that. But I like that better. Okay, so we have that. And then we use this darker green here for that grass. Yeah, that's feeling good. This green contrasts really nicely with these blues here. So I think that that's the right color choice for that. Okay, now we have that. Since we already started doing this, let's go ahead and get the greens of these rest of these elements figured out. So the bushes, I'm going to go with this green. And we're going to change the shadows. We're not going to keep them the gray shadows. We're going to actually change shadows to be the correct color. We're going to first lock the sky. Select these. Select these. And we'll probably go back in and change up these colors, these tree colors. But they're feeling pretty good. Let's see. Maybe a nice brown, or do we want to change it up and do a certain color? This is always the fun part because you really get to like play around with like what you want to do, like what kind of colors you want to have within these illustrations. Let's see. John Jason asks, can you try gradients in the coloring? So for the most part, I do not do gradients that much. It's very, very rare that I will add gradients to my illustrations. I've never been a big fan of them. So I don't really use them that much. For this illustration here, gradients won't... I don't want to use gradients. They're not going to work properly with these, so I'm not going to try to. But you can use gradients if that's a style that you'd like to use. Okay. I'm going to select this. Whoops. Select this. Select this. And select... this. Still just trying to play around, see what color I want for the tree trunks. Actually, ooh, I like that one. We'll go with that one. Alright, windows. I tend to always make my windows blue. It's just a color preference for myself. Let's see. What do you guys think? What color do you think this house should be? We'll try a few different types, but we'll see. I want to see what you guys think would be a good color. Sometimes with really, really bright and vibrant colors like red, it's actually better to use blue for shadows. And that's just because to show you, we'll try it and see how it looks. See, that's way too much. That's so saturated, so bright, or excuse me, vibrant, that I'm not a big fan of it. So I'm going to use blue. Whoops. Uh-oh. Going to use blue. we'll drop this down to 15%, and that feels better. Let's change these to blue. There we go. Always find picking the right shade of color a challenge, just because I always go back and change it to see what it looks like. Yeah, trust me, like, picking color is not a very easy thing to do. It takes a lot of time and practice and just like eyeballing things and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So I even struggle with it from time to time. That's why I have this large color library, so I can keep going back and forth and playing around with color. Alright. I kind of like this yellow. This yellow feels really good to me. And especially with the shadowing in yellow too. It just like, it feels nice and warm. So I think I am going to go with yellow here. Especially since no one said any colors. So sometimes I will add reflections to the windows. To answer Jason's question, how about reflections on the windows? And how I normally do that, I'll tell you what, I will add reflections to these just so you guys have a frame of a nice frame of reference. So what I do is I take a rectangle like so. I rotate it using the shift button. Then I option shift drag a copy, and then I shrink the other copy like so. And then I'll place it right on top like this. Change the color to white. Opacity to 35% as we've been doing. I'll select the window pane. Paste it in front. And then clipping mask. And then we have to copy it and paste it on top of the actual window pane. And since we have two, we line those up the same way. So that's how I do window panes. I don't do gradients in window pane in reflections. I started doing some gradients, as you can see in this element right here in this illustration. You can see that I did do transparency masks here using gradients. But for the most part, I'm not the biggest fan of them, and I don't like using them so much in my work. But that's just my preference. All right, so let's add a light blue here. We need like a blue grayish color. So we'll put that color, and then we'll jump into color picker and just play around with that a little. And we'll change these to white. Same thing with these. Now that we're not working in grayscale anymore, we can do that. Zoom in. Select each one of these strokes and change them to white as well. Okay, so that's a little too dark. So I'm gonna use a lighter color, and we'll try that here too, just so that we can try and keep things consistent. And that's too light there, so I think that's fine with those. But here it needs to be that much. Let's actually try yellow. Whoops. I'm not selecting the right shape. Ah, that's why. Huh, interesting. That's very interesting. I'm trying to figure out, something happened. And I'm trying to figure out what is going on. Huh. Ah, that's why. Okay, I figured it out. Yeah, there we go. That's feeling better. So we're going to change that to a yellow as well. No, I don't like that yellow. See, this is what happens whenever I start choosing color to help illustrate that, you know, even when I choose color, it's not always perfect. I sometimes have to go back and figure things out. Okay, so now we got that. Now we can move on to the roof. The roof, the roof, the roof is on fire. All right. For this, let's try a couple things. Ooh, that instantly feels good to me. One thing we have to do, because if you notice, if you look very closely, I think you guys might be able to tell, maybe not, you can see there's a little bit of an overlap. In screen printing, they call that the butt cut, or at least that's what I learned it was called. Interesting enough, that's what it is. Okay, so let's lock this. We don't want that there. Whoops. Lock that. No. Okay, what is going on? There we go. We got it. It took a moment, but we got it. All right, so we cleared that out. I'm liking this. I really like how this roof looks, how the colors are looking. What do you guys think? Are you guys liking the colors as well? I think this turned out really, really nicely. I think what we'll do is we'll add a little foundation. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, so I think this is about it here. What are everybody's thoughts on it? What do you guys think of it? You like it? You hate it? What do you think? Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes to enter today's contest for a free Slaptastick sticker pack. Right now, there's only 4 people signed up to receive this free pack. So please definitely head down to the description down below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow the link to sign up for my mailing list for this contest. I'm going to choose 2 people at random to win the free sticker packs by the amazing Dennis Salvatier. So take a couple more minutes to go through, enter to win the contest. If you've already signed up to that same landing page, please don't worry, you can still sign up. You should still be able to sign up. Yeah, so please head on over and sign up for that contest. We just have 4 people. We can definitely get a few more people. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching me do this illustration from start to finish. It was a lot of fun for me. I hope it was a lot of fun for you guys. Right now, while we're waiting for everybody to finish signing up for the contest, does anybody have any questions in regards to what I created here today, or in general? Ooh, it's always a lot of fun to do these illustrations. I actually have to go back and re-look at who it was that won last week's contest. Let's see. I think we got a couple more people who signed up. That's awesome. Okay, so while I'm waiting to see if you guys have any more questions, and if you guys while you guys are signing up for the contest, let me just say, give you guys like an update of what's going to be going on in the next few weeks to a month. At the beginning of next month, or excuse me, at the end of this month, I'm going to be going to Epic Currents Work Week. It's going to be an awesome design conference in Yosemite, and I'm going to be there selling Slaptastick sticker packs. After that, the next following week, I will be in San Francisco for Adobe's live stream. Let me see if I got the sticker here. If you guys have not, definitely check them out. Every week they have live streams of illustrators, designers, photographers, videographers. So they have amazing content every single week, and you get to actually interact with people like what you're doing now through chat. So definitely check out Adobe Live's YouTube channel. Additionally, let me see if I can remember everything that's going on. In the coming weeks, I'm currently working on a new course. It is based on my daily drawing lessons videos. If you guys haven't, definitely check those out on my YouTube channel. The course is going to go over more than what the videos that are currently up go over. We will be talking about drawing faces, finding inspiration, drawing bodies, traditional and digital drawing, and things of that nature. So definitely sign up for my mailing list so you know when that comes out as well. Okay, so we got a few things. Stan Peters, how would you go about texturing illustrations like the ones that you have made right there? So for this style here, I generally don't use textures. But if you wanted to use textures, there's a few different ways that you can. For instance, if I didn't want to add traditional textures to these, there is one thing that I could do, and I'll show you how using this tree here as an example. You can go up to the Effect, Distort, and Roughen, and you can actually change this to where it feels more natural, a little bit more organic than what you saw here. 0.5. So this is one way that you can go about adding a little bit of texture. This is more outside texture than what you're talking about. I also use brushes as well. I believe in I use brushes from Retro Supply Company. In fact, I'll quickly show a couple of their texture brushes that they have. In fact, I'll use their, where is it? Drunk Sailor pack. That one has a lot of great brushes for what you're asking for. Let's see. So, for instance, you can add texture like this. Whoops. You can add a little bit of texture here to the tree, and we'll use clipping masks to, whoops. You can add a little bit of texture like this using different brushes. You can also use textured packs that you can find on Creative Market or that you can make yourself. But generally, I don't use textures that much. It's very, very rare that I do. But those are like a few different ways that you can add texture to it. Maybe in a future live stream, I might try and do some texture illustrations just to answer that question a little bit more. I'll make sure to write that down so that I can touch on that later. Let's see. John Jason, how often do you use the perspective tool in Illustrator? Never. I never use the perspective tool ever when it comes to illustrations. I don't even use it whenever I have to do isometric type illustrations. Those are the ones where it's like kind of above in 3D effect. I have always hated the perspective tool. In fact, it was a huge annoyance for me because a lot of times I accidentally click it, and then it's sometimes difficult to get rid of it. But I never used the perspective tool whatsoever. Okay, let's see. Pixel Mosh Pit. What's your favorite place for graphic resources? That will definitely have to be Dribbble. But I also have, and let me get a link so you guys can have this. I also have a Pinterest board, and I'm pasting it into the chat. You will see that in a moment. A Pinterest board that is pretty much all illustration inspiration I've collected from Dribbble, Behance, Instagram, and elsewhere. And so I use these pieces of inspiration as fun little things to try new techniques or to try new styles, stuff along those lines. So that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from. Mario Rachi asks, will you be in awards? No, I won't. From what I understand, it's primarily web design, and I don't do web design. I did web design a long time ago. I don't do it anymore, so I'm not in awards. But if there is more than just web design with that, please let me know. I would like to check that out. Let's see. Let's see. Stan Peters, I think you forgot to change the camera. Whoops. I'm sorry. I will redo the texture thing in a moment. You are correct. Thank you, Stan, for mentioning that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me redo that. Thanks. I forgot that I'm not showing my screen. So let me go and redo what I was talking about with the textures. So one thing you can do is you can select, like, for instance, this tree. You can then go to Effect, Distort, Roughen, and you can play around with this these like little size gauges here, and you can apply some pretty cool little effects to the tree. So like this makes it look more cut paper esque. It gives it more of an organic feel to it. It can be a little it's when you first start using it, it does take a while to get used to it. But this is one thing that I've used in the past when it came to illustrations where I add a little bit more texture. And then on top of that, you can add textured brushes, like the Retro Supply ones that I mentioned. Let me reopen those up again for you. So we'll actually go to another one of their brush packs. Let's see, Vector Fuzz. All right, and so this is where it gets tricky. We might have some lag here because these brushes can really slow things down, especially when I accidentally apply them to the background color. All right, so we're gonna grab this green, or excuse me, we're gonna grab a darker green. And then we're going to grab one of these brushes. And we're going to drag like that. So you can add texture like this. This to them. And then so we could have done this instead of having this shadow here. We can have a textured mass right here. And so we can add texture like that to these illustrations instead of having these flat shadows. But that's like a quick and dirty little way of how you can use it. I definitely think it might be beneficial for me to do a video where I'm using textures in illustrations, because I think that that's something that a lot of you want to see. But hopefully that makes sense to you and everything. Yeah, I know. Awkward moments. Awkward moments. I sometimes will forget stuff like that, so I apologize. Okay, so let me ask. Has everybody signed up for the contest? Let's see. Let's see how many more people we have. Because we have 13 of you in here, and we have 4 submissions. Does no one want free sticker packs? Okay, so let me go through here. So we have Alexandru, we have Harry, Stan, and Javier. Those are the people who are currently signed up for this competition, or for this contest. And I will give you guys just a couple more minutes. A couple more minutes to figure out, if you want to sign up or not. Let's see. Pixel Mosh Pit. Not a big fan of draw inside function. I have not used draw inside function much at all. The reason why I prefer using clipping masks, just creating clipping masks, or I think I understand what you're asking here, because you can, if you wanted to do a clipping mask, like let's say I have this clipping, or let's say I have a clipping mask already here, I can actually select an image and I can draw on top of that, and it will automatically go inside the clipping mask. I can't remember exactly how to do the feature that you are talking about, but I prefer to use clipping masks because I'm used to them, for one. I'm able to manipulate them a little bit more to my liking. So that's the main reason. I might have to go and look more into the whole draw inside function now that you mention it, because the last time I used it, I didn't really like it that well. They might have changed it or tweaked it, so I definitely should check it out. Jorge, don't worry. It does not matter where you live for the sticker packs. For the pins, it was a little different, because this, we can't send regular mail. This, we can send regular mail. And so you can, depending on, it doesn't matter where you live, you can still win the free sticker pack. So don't let, location slow you guys down when it comes to signing up. I will give warning when we do have items that are more restrictive in what we can send, just because of customs and all of that stuff. But when it comes to sticker packs, anyone can win a sticker pack, because I can send it out through regular mail. So I'm gonna let that go just for a little bit longer, so that everybody can sign up. Let's see. I see Mario's in here. We have 5 people now. Let's see. Anybody else? I'm going to give you guys just a couple more minutes. I'm going to stop the contest entry form for the people who are in the live stream at 12:45. So you have about 3 minutes. Okay. So we have 5 people. 5 people right now, but we could have more in a moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a few sheets of little slivers of a Post-it note. Thanks, Elizabeth. Awesome, Mario. Okay, so right now there's 5 people. There's still a little bit more time to go. I'm going to go ahead and write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just in case, 6 and 7. I'm going to fold these up. And I'm going to, once the time is up, I'm going to like shake them up in my hand. Whoa. Okay. Shake them up in my hand, and I'm just going to choose 2 random numbers out of this grouping, and that's how we're going to figure out who wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we got 6. Last chance, everybody. We just have like a moment left. Alexandru, do you make your own color palette? So the majority of these colors are color palettes that I've created, and I've actually got. I'm going to be putting out a YouTube video hopefully this coming week where I talk a bit more about building your own color library, and I will have a piece of premium content that will be going out to all of my everybody who has signed up to my mailing list. So if you have not signed up for my mailing list, sign up for it, and you'll get that piece of premium content. All right. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7, and I'm gonna call it now. All right. So I have 7 slips of paper. Let me make sure I can. Let me go back and look at my. Make sure I can see. Okay. I got 7 slips of paper right here. And I'm going to pick out 1 and 2. All right, so let's see. We have 3 and 6. All right, so the winners are Harry McDonald and John Sullivan. Those are the winners of the free sticker packs. Harry McDonald and John Sullivan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out an email to those of you who won the sticker packs. And I will get your addresses and everything, and I will get these sticker packs out to you probably either tomorrow or Monday. And for, yeah, that's correct. Pixel Mosh Pit, are you open for collaborations? I am open for collaborations. I don't do too many, mainly because I'm currently trying to work on building my own personal brand. And for the most part, I'm trying to keep things open more for client work. So I am open to it, but I also have to be very picky about it. All right, so I'm sorry, Mario, but the good news is your sticker pack, I believe, did go out. All right, so I think that is it for today, everybody. I want to thank you all for once again coming out, watching my live stream. You know, putting up with the little bits of mistakes here and there. And I want to also thank you guys for really helping push me to do more of these things. Everybody who comes on here, even if you don't say anything, even if you're just watching, it really means a lot to me, and it pushes me to want to create new content and share more things with you guys. So I'm going to be trying to do this every single Friday. I will be back next week. I still don't know right now what in the world we are going to be talking about next week. You will find out. And yeah, thank you so much. Congratulations to Harry and John. I hope you guys enjoy your sticker packs when you get them. And thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, and have a great weekend. Remember to like and subscribe, and to follow me on Instagram, Dribble, and Twitter. Thanks, Mario. Alright, everybody. Have a great weekend. Remember, stay passionate, stay positive, and stay creative. And it was great. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. Created something really, really cool. And I hope to see you guys next week.